Let me talk a little bit for a minute or two before we introduce some of the candidates to hear a little bit about the politics of what's going on today, right now. In this room, actually specifically 1 week ago today, there was a meeting of the Democratic Club here. And during that meeting, for those who have the up-to-date phones, folks were getting alerts from CNN and other folks. And in effect, what it was about was, I guess, the demise, politically, of the House Majority Leader, Mr. Cantor. And when I was fortunate enough to make that announcement to the membership that was there was a very spontaneous explosion, literally, of applause and cheers, and understandably so. Because no Republican Majority Leader has ever been defeated in a primary in the history of the U.S. Congress. That is significant in and of itself historically. But what's also significant is this person was defeated by a Tea Party candidate. Now, the Tea Party, as we know, politically, for us, is a mixed bag. Some days, it's great they're out there, because I have to tell you, I was inadvertently pushed into a debate in Boca about a month or two ago with a gentleman who is a longtime Fox contributor and didn't know he was going to be there, but I knew it would be entertaining, so when I found out, I made sure I was there. And he had posed a question. And for a couple of those, in fact, we have actually, two people were actually there with me. We didn't know we were going to see each other, so they could attest to this. The crowd, shall we say, was nothing like us.
A lot of suits.
Not just suits, but let's just say they had very little in common with us in many, many, many ways. They were not really reflective of what America is. And they, of course, loved the speaker. And the speaker got up and talking about the Tea Party, as most of the people on Fox do, which is why my threshold is about 3 minutes of being able to watch the Fox channel, and said, I don't know where this country would be without the Tea Party. And of course, they all cheered and got really excited. So I then stood up and asked a question, and I said, am I stating it correctly that you said, you know, in a very positive sense, you don't know where the Tea Party would be, where the country would be without the Tea Party? He says, yes, that's true. I said, I would suggest that you would have had control of the United States Senate because of the poor candidates you put up all over the nation. Well, apparently they haven't learned that lesson, at least on the House side. And that's why Cantor is in effect gone. For us, they're a mixed bag. Because if they are in prominent positions and we have the opportunity to defeat them with competent Democrats, we're able to do so all the time. But what's a short-term gain for us, but important, is not healthy for this country. They are ideologues. They are non-negotiable. They are crazy. And I say they're crazy not because they're not Democrats. I say that because they're crazy. Now, it is important for us to remember, because the story broke basically, I think today, that the Koch brothers have made a new commitment. They have committed $300 million in the 2014 cycle to support Tea Party candidates and their philosophy. If there's nothing else to motivate us as Democrats in Florida, as Democrats in Broward County, it is the $300 million input that the Koch brothers are going to have. They've already committed significant millions of dollars apart from that money to obviously their favorite son, Rick Scott. We have two candidates here tonight running for Attorney General, statewide candidates. Tough race. Tough to do. And the biggest single reason is not because either one of them isn't well qualified. The reason is because of the outrageous pouring of dollars all over this nation, and Florida not only not an exception, but probably the poster child for that. And that's because this is the #1 governor's race in Florida. Florida's the #1 governor's race, in the nation. I would predict to you 3-4 months from now, we will all agree that the Florida governor's race will be the #1 race of any kind in Florida. And the reasons for that are clear. First, because as we've discussed, we're the ultimate swing state. And therefore, having one person, God willing a Democrat, sitting in that governor's mansion, that person alone will be able to undo a lot of what this Florida Republican legislature does. There was an op-ed piece in the Sun Sentinel yesterday, I don't know how many folks saw it, that was written by a gentleman who, for lack of a better term, I served young Democrats with in the 1970s when we were in college. And then shortly thereafter started to make money and became a Republican and a major corporate spokesperson. That's correct. And in this op-ed piece, talked about why, gee, there's so much gridlock in the nation's capital. And if they elect a Democratic governor, it's going to be like Washington. We're going to have a gridlock. Unlike today, when we can pass bills through. And for the betterment of all of Florida, Florida government works. I would suggest, as we all agree, that it works for very few. And I would also suggest that a Democratic governor, if for no other reason, can stop bad legislation. And I can tell you, I think we all agree, it's a lot better to have no legislation than to have continually bad legislation that we can only hope the courts can undo. And let's not forget about the courts. This new governor will appoint significant numbers of justices because all the retirements are among Democrats. So if we elect a Democratic governor, all we do is hold place. All those are the first reason why this governor's race and why Florida is the #1 target in the nation. The other reason is called 2016. Many of us lived, fortunately and unfortunately, through 2000 in the recount. And unlike Republicans, we want a Democratic governor just to have a level playing field. Not for an advantage, just to be fair and square. So the Democrats are going to fight, the Republicans are going to fight, because it's also about the presidency. And may I suggest to you, regardless of the outcome of the Florida governor's race, I am convinced that this will be the last gasp by the National Republican Party to win the presidency. So that if they cannot capture the White House in 2016, I will suggest to all of you that they will then not have the ability, because of changing demographics, to recapture it for a generation. This is... But I will also humbly suggest the reverse. And that is that this is our best chance. We have a window of opportunity to capture the governor's mansion here. The legislature and reapportionment are not going away. The state house isn't changing the next cycle or two. Senate probably isn't either. That's the reality. But the reality also is we have a chance to win the governorship. And if we win the governorship, we increase the chances dramatically of winning the 2016 presidential and making sure we take that out of the hands of Republicans for a generation. That is a burden only on Florida. That's not a burden on New York or California or Texas, because you know which way they're going to go. It's a slight burden on Ohio, but it's really about Florida. It was about Florida in 2000, and things haven't changed that much. They still are. So when we talk to you about get out the vote, we talk to you about raising money, and we get together and do training sessions, we talk about chasing absentee ballot requesters, and we talk about palm cards, and we talk about issues, as we all have to do every day when we leave here, that will be the difference. We can't govern other counties. We can only control the destiny of ourselves in Broward County. We know life is tough. We know it, frankly, better than Republicans do. But we also know the rewards. And frankly, probably enjoy them more to some extent. And that is why this is our last best chance to succeed in the governor's mansion. And I believe, perhaps, if we're successful, to create a level playing field and have a Democratic nominee for president succeed, and maybe, just maybe, elect the first female president of the United States.